Yeah, I hope so. That'd be good. And well, Dale, this is a special edition. We're going to call it Hills. I don't know what do you want to call it. Talking Preps OT Part Two, Thursday night.
Well, it's our post game stuff,
Yeah, I guess so.
which
It's
is
kind of. I guess it's
yeah.
not really a OT. It's more of a post game Thursday night. I'm
How
all
about
thrown
post
out, but
game? Yeah, how about part one and tomorrow
yeah,
part
tonight's
two?
Part One. Talking Preps. All right, Dale. Let's go ahead and get started here. We got. I think we had 7 games played tonight.
Yeah, 7 tonight, 4 tomorrow night. So a lot more games played tonight.
So we thought that Grimsley Weddington game was going to be a low scoring game, and sure enough, it was. Grimsley wins 13-7. Clayton Cardinal Gibbons, we thought it was going to be a 3-point game. We picked Cardinal Gibbons to win. What happened? Clayton wins 35-32. Crest all over Hickory 39-21. Hunt, they pretty much had their own with Northside. It was 20-0 going into the fourth quarter, and Hunt wins 20-7 over Northside. Reedsville, that game with West Craven went back and forth. It was tied at halftime, 8-8. And Reedsville scores a field goal with less than 2 minutes to win 23-21. Kinston just pretty much all over James Keenan. I saw it going in the second quarter. It was 7-7. And then Kinston scores 23 points in a row, unanswered points to win 30-7. And Tarboro, we did think it was going to be a potential running clock, and sure enough, it was. Tarboro wins over Warren County 40-0. Dale, what was the biggest surprise tonight for you?
Kinston, James Cannon, probably.
I agree.
Yeah,
that was the surprise for me. I just did not see that happening.
No, I didn't either.
So
yeah, that's without question. When I saw you posting scores, because I was doing some other stuff, so I was just kind of watching chat a little bit. And you were putting the scores in, and I saw these scores coming in. I was from this game. I was like, wow. And it just stayed that way. So that was maybe step beyond surprise to maybe shock to me.
Yeah, it really was to me too. I mean, I thought James Keenan might have had the best chance to win the 3A classification. Yeah. Right now, I think it's wide open.
Right.
Let's go back and look at the 7A real quick. Grimsley Weddington, that was, from what I can see, there was pretty much a defensive battle. Both teams were making, a mistake here, mistake there and stuff. Couldn't convert on fourth down. But Clayton Cardinal Gibbons was different. That game, I'm sure you saw the scores come in on that. Clayton would be up by 11, and next thing you know, it was Cardinal Gibbons was up by 3, and it went kind of back and forth. Clayton wins by 3. I do understand we do have some clips of Faison Brandon from Grimsley. Maybe we can get those on right now.
A pretty defensive intense game. How did that feel?
It felt really good. I feel like we got the best defense in the state. I want to give them a lot of props. They really kept us in this, and we just tried to take advantage of every opportunity we had. So I was just saying, I'm just going to thank the defense and thank the rest of my team for keep fighting.
How tough was their defense? Obviously, they got a bunch of college guys like you.
Oh, they got a great defense, great defensive line. Can't say nothing away from those guys. They do a lot of great stuff. So I would say.
This season started with an injury in Charlotte. How far ago does that feel now?
It feels far ago. I'm really glad to be there. I was very blessed. I thank God for allowing me to come back healthy.
Well, I'm glad he likes his defense. I'm going to say Huff's got the best defense in the state.
They're one of the best. That's definitely.
They're one of the best. Just as Weddington is one of the best. Yeah.
Right.
I'll agree with that.
Definitely one of the best. That next week, we don't know exactly where the game's going to be, but that Grimsley Clayton game, that the 7A Grimsley 14-0, Clayton 12-2. I'm just kind of looking at it here. Does Clayton have the defense to stop Faison Brandon and company? That's the question I have right now.
That's a good question. And is the Clayton offense? This is apparently a better defense, and that's one of the things that Gibbons typically has good defenses, but there were a lot of points put up in that game tonight to be going against a great defense. So I think there's a couple of questions there in that game. Can Clayton move the ball on Grimsley's defense? And can they stop the Grimsley offense? Kid we just heard from, he's a phenomenal player.
He really is. This game here, I think the Grimsley-Clayton game, I think we both will agree that Grimsley is going to be the favorite. They should be. Yeah, I would say so. That being said, though, Grimsley still is going to have to play as close to mistake-free as possible, because we know Scott Chadwick, and he can capitalize on other teams' mistakes. We've seen that throughout the years.
Yeah, I don't think it's a game you can walk into thinking that, you beat some of the best teams in the state. Now here you are in this championship, and this is an Eastern team. And, who are they will be the question for some people.
Right.
You can't sleep on it in a game like that. It'll be an interesting game.
Crest versus Hunts. That's another game that right now you'd have to say Crest is the favorite. I think a significant favorite over Hunts.
I think so. I mean, honestly, you almost now maybe I'm going out too far on a limb, but I think Crest may have faced a tougher opponent tonight than they'll face in the championship. But
I don't think that's going on a limb. And to be honest with you, we could even go further on that. If that is a limb, saying the last 3 weeks they may have played tougher opponents with Hickory and South Point and East Lincoln.
Jim, I remember way back when we were back that far into or early into the playoffs, and every time I would look at these things, every team that you just mentioned, along with Crest, so all those teams were the top power rated in the Max Preps power ratings, not RPI stuff, were the top rated power rated programs. And in fact, it was, I think, about fifth or sixth when the first East teams came in. Crest has faced a lot of tough opponents here in the playoffs. That's a tremendous run that they're on here in the playoffs.
I agree. But one thing I will say about Hunt, though, they've really played a really good playoff season. I mean, the last 4 games, they had a bye the first week, but they've beaten some pretty good teams, and at this point, they're battle tested. I just don't think they're Crest type of battle tested, if you know what I mean. They haven't beat a team like Crest this year. One other thing I'll mention here for the County Wilson, you got 2 teams in the state playoffs championships. So Wilson Prep and Hunt. It's based in Wilson. So that's a pretty impressive feat right there, having your county represented by 2 different teams.
It is, isn't it? Man, I think I became a fan of Wilson Prep. Was it 2 seasons ago?
Right.
Definitely last season. They've shown some great promise in the playoffs in previous years, and now here they are.
Well, here's something else. Wilson Prep and Clayton played each other earlier on the season, and look who's still playing in the championship games: Wilson Prep and Clayton.
Yep.
And, we can even go further. Hunt and Tarboro played, Tarboro and Kinston played. And what are all those three teams have in common? They're going to be playing for a state championship game.
Exactly. So the testament there is that some of the bigger teams are not, many of the bigger teams don't dodge others in the regular season. The best way to prepare your team is to play good competition. One philosophy, well, I think there's probably three philosophies. One is just to get wins, and in this RPI world, wins mean a lot. But your opponent's wins mean a lot too. So you have to balance that. And then the other philosophy is just go out and play the toughest opponents that you can, period. The middle ground of that is to play opponents that can press you, but you feel like you probably have a chance to beat. And in some of these situations here that we've seen these teams face each other in the regular season, those are just, we're playing the best competition we can. And I think that's great because it prepares you and puts you here. You may have lost, Hunt lost to Tarboro, but hey, now you're here. So,
right. You're exactly right. And, looking at these teams right now, the four state championship games, I think 1A and 8A will be Thursday night in Chapel Hill. What I'm looking at now is what teams will go to Lenore-Rhine. I think Reedsville won tonight. So they'll be representing the East for the 4A. And right now, they're going to be the closest one that's going to be to Lenore-Rhine. I could see the winner of the Brevard Maiden game in Reedsville playing in Lenore for the state championship game.
Yeah, I think that's why we don't know yet. I think that's probably one of the reasons they're going to wait until tomorrow night, is to look and see maybe logistically what makes sense. And hopefully that's what makes sense from a potential fan base of being able to get more fans at a game.
Right.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see. I agree with you on the others playing on Thursday night because they've had a bye this week. I don't agree with it at all.
No, I don't either.
At least play them on Friday night, but then somebody's going to suffer. And there are people talking about, well, who's going to go watch a game who's going to go watch a game on Thursday night? You should put, the 8A game on Friday night. Well, that means you're going to move two other teams to playing on Thursday night. And Jim, sometimes, the smaller classifications bring more fans to these state championships.
Oh, yeah. I mean, historically, the 2As and 3As, I think they've outdrawn a lot of times the 4A teams over the years. I mean, 3A is just incredible.
Jim, one of the things that back there in our split, AA and A championships, when we had our 8 championships back then, many times I would be on 85 riding up to the Triangle area to go to games. And this was during the Independence Run, Mallard Creek, Butler, and I would just get passed by so many cars with Shelby Lion, flags waving out on the car. And you get up there and Shelby's just got a tremendous fan turnout. So we'll move on, but people that think that just because the 8, the biggest classification should not play on Thursday night because of who they are, nobody should play on Thursday night.
I agree. Reedsville is another team. Golly, they travel well.
Yes,
that's just an incredible team. So let's look at some of the games for tomorrow night. We played 7 tonight. And tomorrow, Northern Guilford at Watauga. Dale, while we're watching the clip, I saw that it looked like it was maybe raining, maybe I don't even know, even maybe a little bit of sleet on the Greensboro or the Grimsley quarterback. Watauga is going to be really cold, and it might be dry by then, but it's going to be really cold. That's one thing we know.
I'm thinking it's going to be dry, but I haven't checked that weather. I've been watching the weather in Lincolnton, and the rain stops, and the rain's not heavy at any time. It's less than a tenth of an inch an hour for most of the night. There's some points that it may be a tenth of an inch or 2/10, but it's not like it's a downpour of rain. And the rain is supposed to end about 10 a.m. in the morning. So they may not have certainly not snow. You know what? I'm not going to say, because the mountains is a whole different animal. Weather does different things up there, but
I just noticed something, Dale. I just noticed something on this right here. We got the Northern Guilford and Watauga both on Friday and Saturday night. It looks like that Watauga Northern Guilford game might have been pulled to Saturday nights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can see on the right-hand side, there's a game on Saturday, which is Northern Guilford and Watauga, and it's also listed on Friday. I'm sure we'll get some clarification a little bit on that, but that right there indicates that whoever wins that game is definitely, I don't know, I think that would be a Saturday night game, and that one might end up being played at Lenore Ryan also.
You know
what? It is on Saturday.
I'm looking at I'm looking at games scheduled for tomorrow night. So I see the Middle Creek, Jacksonville, Starmount, Murphy, Shelby, Lincolnton, and Maiden, Brevard. Watauga's not listed here.
It's Saturday. We just got
so it's got to be Saturday. Yeah. So here's the Saturday link. I see.
Yeah.
So let's see what the Saturday link says.
So that's going to be
it's definitely 6 p.m. Saturday.
Okay.
No. I just, I have these thoughts in my head, just like I had a thought of going to a game tonight, but I just, I'm not going to go up to Boone Saturday night.
Yeah, don't worry about me doing that either. I mean, although I wouldn't mind going up there, but if it was like, 40 degrees warmer,
right,
maybe an hour and a half closer to me. So the other games, Middle Creek and Jacksonville, that's going to be a pretty even game. I just don't think either one of those teams are head and shoulders above the others. But we'll see on that. And
I kind of like Jacksonville in that game, but we'll see.
Maiden Brevard, I think that's going to be a really closer game than a lot of people think. I know Brevard is undefeated. I'm going to take Brevard, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Brevard. Maiden can make it an interesting game, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I would not be surprised if Maiden wins, but I'm picking Brevard.
Yeah, I'm picking Brevard too.
You know what?
I'm sticking with Brevard. I should say that.
Be honest with you, the top three games on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised if either one team wins. It's fairly close. Shelby and Lincolnton, I'm picking Shelby. I just think it's going to be hard for Lincolnton to beat Shelby twice in the season. The one thing I will say, though, the weather could come into play and help out Lincolnton. But be honest with you, Shelby's pretty darn tough. I mean, those guys, there's nothing wimpy about Shelby whatsoever. They are battle tested. They're tough. And I think a lot of times these teams can persevere.
The thing that's going to make it tough for Lincolnton to beat Shelby again is that Shelby has improved throughout the season.
Right.
So, that's can they win the game? Yes. Can they? I don't know. The question is, I don't know how much weather is going to impact. I really don't,
Right.
because it doesn't look like there's going to be any weather during the game. It looks like it's just going to be cold, which is, I think, going to be an equal point for each team. And I don't it's just be a question of how much the
Is
previous rain impact.
is Lincolnton? Is it on turf or is it grass?
Well, I haven't been there in in what 3 4 years. When's the last time I don't remember the last time I went to Lincolnton. It might have been when Surratt's were playing. The brothers.
Right,
Yeah, so that would have been what, about 8 years ago, wouldn't it?
right.
I think
For
that's the
some
last
reason,
time I was at Lincolnton, and it was a grass field then.
okay. I don't know why. I know there was one of those teams, one or two of those teams that now have turf, but I didn't know if Lincolnton was one of them.
Well,
Star Mountain
most schools are putting in turf as
turf.
they go, to new as they get the monies or whatever. Everybody's putting in turf. So
Gotcha. Now, Star Mountain Murphy, I like Murphy in this game. I think Star Mountain's got a really good defense, but I don't know. Murphy, there's something about that name Murphy for one thing, and also playing at Murphy. That's a hard place to win on the roads against. So I'm picking Murphy. I think Murphy's got a. I think they're just got a stronger defense, and or it's going to be a better offense. Probably as good a defense Star Mountain.
yeah, I'm sticking with Murphy. I think the game will be potentially close. I actually thought about picking them, but in the end, I'm sticking with Murphy.
And then that last game, Northern Guilford and Watauga. I'd be lying if I said I could really pick a clear favorite. Right now, I do like Northern Guilford. I do like Watauga's home field advantage, but I'm going with Northern Guilford in a close one.
Yeah, I'm not just in this situation. I'm not sure how much the home field advantage is going to help them.
Right.
It'll help them some, but this is a really good team that they're having to play. I'm picking Northern Guilford too.
All right.
And I see a comment in our chat that says 8A and 1A could have played their state championships this week. Yes, they could have. Um, I don't know how it fleshes out to where they would play, because, for example, would UNC apparently, I'm assuming they donated their facilities, since we're not seeing NC State and Duke and Wake Forest involved at all. I'm assuming that facilities donated, because the NCHSAA's limited in resources, and these things have been sponsored in the past. So would a UNC have donated their facilities for this week as well? For 2 weeks, or
Right.
maybe what? Maybe that was a reason to go to the Panthers or somebody and say, "Can we use your field? Hold a state championship," or UNC Charlotte. They should have
That'd be
played.
great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's lots of places that could have
Yeah.
potentially hosted this and probably would have been willing to host it.
If it was up to me, I'd have every one of those games at Wake Forest. I love that stadium.
Oh, I do too. I don't know why they moved away from. They hadn't held a state championship there, and it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know what? They were always the best host. They had the best field, the best facilities for the media. I think it was the best place for the families, to be honest with you. The parking wasn't quite as bad as it is at Kenan Stadium or at the old Carter Finley, or definitely not at Duke. Wallace Wade, that parking was just horrendous.
I don't find the parking to be too bad at Carter Finley, because you can park right there.
Yeah, you know what? They got better. I mean, some years it was a lot worse than others. This last couple of years have been pretty good at Carter Finley, come think of it.
Yeah, and my experience each time at Chapel Hill seemed like I had to hike a mile to get to where I wanted to get to, and find a place to park, and all of that. I recognize it's just the layout. It's it's not an intentional thing. It's just the layout of how everything is right there and all the activity that's taking place around um, that stadium. So
Right.
I liked Wake Forest for many reasons, all of which you listed. It was my favorite place to go to of all the venues.
Centralized in the state too.
It's more centralized, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, uh, it's easier. I don't. Yeah, I think the state should start looking at where teams come from for the state championships. When we're looking at 8A, we're looking at typically Mecklenburg County area and Raleigh Durham area. When
Right.
we look at 7A, we're almost looking at the same thing. Maybe we pull in a Guilford County or a Forsyth County that could potentially mix in, but that's where most of the big classifications are going to come from. So they really should look to something that's centrally located for both instead of putting it across the street from Cardinal Gibbons and making a Charlotte team drive all the way up.
Right.
I know that wasn't intentional, but that's what happens. Now that we're not, I won't say bound to using the big universities, but now that we can't afford to pay the big universities to use their facilities, maybe they'll start looking more at using these other facilities.
Oh, it'd be nice. You know what? You'll laugh at this. Go over to Burke County to East Burke. They have one of the nicest stadiums around, and
I'm not
nobody
laughing at
talks
that.
about it.
Yeah, I don't
But I
laugh
mean,
at
that'd be a
that.
great
Yep.
place to host a championship. And like as someone our producer says, it's too far west. And I agree with you. You have to get to Statesville, which is probably too far west, and then you have to go another hour and a half or so, or hour to there. It's just too far, but beautiful
Yeah, and
stadium.
it's especially when you think about who you would probably put there to classifications,
Yeah,
and those programs coming out of the east are going to come from those rural areas in the
right.
east, and uh, those that would be a long drive for them. Uh,
Oh yeah,
and it
too
would make
far.
no sense sending a Mecklenburg County team and a Raleigh team up there to play. That would be bad.
I mean, you basically need to keep it between. I'm gonna say where I-77 is. That's about as far west as you want to go, and then the farthest east you want to go is maybe the I-85, I-40 corridor. Around. I think NC State's a little bit too far east, although they have better facilities than Carolina. But somewhere between those things, maybe between Charlotte and Raleigh, and then you want to. Is to me the closest, the best place would be in the Triad area.
I'm not against going to allowing the home team to host, and the home team could pick a venue that they would like to host in. So, as an example, let's say the Huff is the East is the home teams this year, aren't they?
I have no idea. That sounds right, but
I think they are. But let's say the West were home teams, and so the Huff game. Huff could say, "Well, for this game, we're gonna play it at Panther Stadium,
yeah,
or we're gonna play it at UNC Charlotte, or pick a venue that maybe is a little bit bigger than their place." Or they could say we're going to play it on their campus. They would definitely lose money, but I think I think that might help in balancing who gets to see championship games. A lot of people just don't want to drive 3 hours to watch a game, 3, 4 hours to watch a game, and having to do it every year.
Well, I agree with you. I'd rather drive 30 minutes than 3 hours any day. And
Yeah,
the
and
only thing is, it's not just going one way. You have to go back there, So,
exactly. And I'd drive an hour.
yeah.
That's why Wake Forest was not a bad option at all. Maybe that's another reason I liked it. It's a little bit quicker to get there.
And I like
Uh,
Simeon Stadium, what Coach Ian Tatum's saying. That's one of my favorite places. I love that
yes,
stadium. I like Tarpley
yeah,
Stadium at Dudley. I like the state was it Marion Kirby Stadium over at Page. I mean, all those are great stadiums. Greensboro's got some really good stadiums.
yeah. North Carolina A&T thrown
Yeah.
up as a suggestion. High Point. That's a wonderful stadium there.
Now,
Haven't
how
been
about
in it.
Davidson? Does Davidson University, they still play football like in 1A, 1AA, or whatever it is?
Man,
I think they're in the FCS, if I remember right.
unless I have not been to a Davidson football game since my son was recruited by Davidson, and so I don't know, but I can tell you then visitors side sucked.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, it was a small venue, and I don't think it would be much bigger. You got to understand that. I mean, just in general, football is a low priority.
At Davidson.
And yeah, and I see a comment's not better than the high school site. I
Well,
definitely agree with that.
one time Davidson was like one of the big five in North Carolina back in the 30s. You had North Carolina, Duke, NC State, Wake, and you also had Davidson. Davidson was
Hmm.
on that same echelon at the time. So, how about like other like schools like Catawba? Do they have a football team or in Salisbury or?
I've not been to the Catawba Stadium. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just not familiar who has football teams around there.
Oh well,
Elon,
oh definitely. Catawba's got football.
Elon's a good place to go. I agree with that.
Yeah, Elon. Yeah, Elon's where I went for my football camps in high school. I like Elon. Uh, there are a lot, yeah, but just to kind of close on the Davidson thing, you're better playing it
High
at
school.
one of the new CMS stadiums is a
Right.
lot better experience as far as handling a crowd. Uh,
Gotcha.
Davidson's a wonderful university,
Yeah.
small. There's a lot of great things about Davidson, but it's really not a football centric. They don't. Yeah, what we found out in recruiting is that universities like Harvard will set aside slots. At Harvard, at Davidson, et cetera, you got to qualify as a student to be able to get into the football program. But
Right.
what Harvard does, and other schools like Harvard, is they set aside a number of slots. They say, okay, we're going to have student seats for, let's say, 30 students or whatever number they want to pick, that these will be reserved that a qualifying student that plays football can come into. Davidson doesn't do that. Davidson will not let you sign an NLI until you have been accepted as a student. You have to be accepted first as a student. So that's their focus on athletics is different. So anyway, Davidson not a good shot.
Okay, I got you.
Johnson
I
C.
just think
Smith. No.
no. I was
No.
just thinking just general areas like between Charlotte and Raleigh, but we can definitely talk about that a different day. I know it's getting a little bit late here. I've got to work the next morning. Dale, I didn't know if you had some final thoughts for tonight.
Cold. Really, my thoughts are what I couldn't do and I wanted to do, but I hope I'll do tomorrow night, and that's go see a football game. I want to see a game tonight, but just my body just doesn't want to do those kinds of things.
I got to keep my head warm. That's the thing with me.
So it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow night how weather impacts things and games on Saturday. This just seems like to sum up, with this stuff happening right now here in the regionals, and we got teams that had buys this week, and just so we can synchronize state champions next week, which really means nothing because 1As and the 8As don't communicate with the other class programs. Hey, let's have a party together. It's all separate, and I don't know. I feel like this week is disjointed in a number of ways, and that is just one of them. So I hope the state can work out this new classification stuff next year and not have all these buys going through the playoffs. That's it.
Okay, I got you. And I agree with the weather. The one thing I'll mention, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night next week, 51 degrees, 49 degrees, and 47 degrees. Those are your highs. So we're still going to have cold weather next week. A lot of different ways you can get a hold of us during the week. We will be back on tomorrow night. I believe it's going to be around 11:30, like usual. Tonight we did 11 o'clock, and we will probably have some type of post-game show after the state championships or during the state championship games. We'll do something. We'll talk about it. But here's our lineup here for the next week. And from Jim West and Dale Ross with Talking Preps, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care.